Hi everyone, welcome once again. I'm the Cotswolds girl. Hope you're doing really well. Today is Friday. We made it. Thank goodness. What a week it has been. Unbelievable. I know myself, I woke up this morning thinking, oh, one more day before the weekend, and honestly I think all of us have got sort of news fatigue, I think, probably this week, but anyway, it is what it is. Bit historic, a bit sad, and I guess unfortunately these things happen in the world, and we all have to ride the bumps and whatnot, and it's tricky to navigate. But anyway, I hope you've had a really, really good week. I've had a really, really busy week this week. I've been doing some consulting work. I've been doing more on my, I've been really busy in our normal business, and I have had my very first referral through from this channel into my travel business. So I'm so excited to be working with a family that are coming over to the UK. I'm just so excited. So hopefully we can get all of that happening. But yeah, so that happened this week, and I'm just really thrilled, because again, it just shows the power of being a real person and putting yourself out there into the world, and hoping to make a difference and do something that you absolutely love. So yeah, so that was literally a highlight of my week this week. So going into the weekend with some real positivity, I think, which is really, really great. And the other thing that has been sort of happening this week, which is a bit of a first, which and I know this is going to sound really weird, but I'm actually really excited about it. So I put out a couple of short videos the other day after the whole Prince Andrew thing started to just blow up. And I had a couple of comments come back that were a little bit negative, but not so much, just sort of maybe negative's not the right word. Maybe it's challenging, which I absolutely love. And the reason that I love it, and look, a lot of people could potentially take it to heart and, start going back at people and whatever, but I'm not like that. And the reason that I see it as a positive rather than negative is that I really want interaction on my channel, and it means that people are watching, and what they're seeing that I'm presenting is challenging them, or they feel sort of like they want to comment and whatnot, which is great. I think that's fantastic. So, yes, it might not necessarily, have been, the glowing praise that, people want, but that's okay. It's interaction, and I find that awesome, because I want to grow the channel, and that means people having different opinions and interacting and, being able to put it out there in the world. So yeah, it's I know that sounds really, really strange, and look, as YouTubers, we put things out into the stratosphere. We hang ourselves out there a little bit, just in terms of what we say and the content that we make, and people can comment and they can say whatever they want, because people have got differing opinions, and that's what makes the world go round. But it's the interaction that's really, really great. Good, bad, whatever, like, it happens, and it's always going to happen. But I think as YouTubers, what I have sort of seen a little bit on other channels and things, people sort of getting drawn into debate and argument and snipping and going at each other. And do you know what? It's unnecessary. I think that, having interaction with people is great, and people are absolutely entitled to all of their opinions, and that's what makes our lives interesting. If we were all the same, how boring would that be? Variety is the spice of life. So I'm I'm actually really pleased about that. So, I'm hoping that, obviously I don't invite negativity, and I don't, I'm not one to necessarily, rise to any of that, but interaction is good. So so I'm very, very positive about all of that, because again, it's about people watching my channel and finding it interesting enough to comment and, being interactive. So all very, very positive stuff. So that's brilliant. One thing I did get today, actually, and this is on the Vinted side of things, because again, I'm loving my Vinted. Have a look at this beautiful jewellery box. It's literally as ancient as it comes. Like, I don't even know what year. I'm going to take it down to my local antiques guy and see if he can sort of find a stamp. But it's absolutely beautiful. Have a look. Oh, it's all lined and everything, and it's actually quite heavy, but how beautiful is that? I'm going to keep my all my precious things in it. But yeah, got that this week, and I absolutely adore it. It's absolutely beautiful. So yeah, another one to add to the collection. Hopefully getting a couple more things coming over the next sort of few days, including a really, really beautiful old 6-volume series of, I think it's Edward. It's not Edward the Seventh. Maybe it is. I don't know. It's one of them. And there's a back. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, I'll show you when I get them all through. But beautiful 100-year-old volumes about the king and his reign. So it's amazing. So I can't wait to show you that. I'm loving all of this, all of these antiques that I'm sort of getting through, and little finds, because it's just a piece of living history that I absolutely adore. So yeah, so there's a couple of other things I guess I wanted to talk about today on, in this broadcast. And look, I guess it's one of those, it's again on the topic of, what's sort of making news at the moment. And I don't know about everyone else, but I'm just finding that once, all of this news is coming out about Andrew and whatnot, it just seems to be a massive pile-on. And, I get it. Like, this dude has been doing some pretty shady shit for a long time. So, maybe, there is an element of, sometimes, actions have consequences, and maybe this is his comeuppance. Like, maybe, karma's turned around and bit him on the arse. Maybe. And, we all hold out hope that, this sort of karma circle does exist in life, doesn't it? That, people that do wrong will get their just desserts. And, maybe that's the case with Harry. Maybe he's a living example of karma on an everyday basis. But yeah, it's just piling on people, I just find a little bit distasteful. And again, at the end of the day, we tend to lose the fact that, we tend to lose the humanity in things. And yes, people, and especially, Andrew, he's been a complete bonehead. He's made some really questionable judgment calls. He has probably been a really pompous, entitled, arrogant bastard for most of his life. And, I get it, and I've dealt with people like that. Gosh, I'm watching a program at the moment where one guy on there, it's a reality TV show, is absolutely just one of these guys that you just, if you see him walking down the street, you'd want to just, have a go. But you forget that actually people are human. And as much as, their judgment is called into question, and as much as what they do is not okay, it's, I think that, we're out in society and, on YouTube, and all of us sitting behind a computer and on TikTok and on X, we're all armchair experts. We've all got our opinion and we think it's the right one. And, we come down very hard and say some very harsh things about people because, it's nameless, faceless criticism. And, it feels like, if I'm anonymous, I can sort of get away with it. And I just find that really sad. I don't know. Look, maybe, as I said, I'm in no way, shape or form defending the guy or anything like that. But I also think that maybe we just need to look at ourselves a little bit and just remember that, again, like we're all human. We all make mistakes. But, who are we to sit in glass houses and throw stones? If we've never done anything wrong in our lives, if we've never made questionable decisions in our lives, if we've never done anything that's, slightly dodgy in our lives, then let us cast the first stone. But at the end of the day, who are we? Who are we to judge? I'm going to put my hand up and say that I've made some questionable judgments in my life. I've said some pretty harsh things in my life. I haven't been always the nicest person, which is, but I'm not going to, so I have to sit back and have a good hard look at myself, when all of these things come about, because, again, these are the things that make us human. So, I just think that the element of piling on is probably not okay. I think that perhaps, again, the law is there for a reason, justice is there for a reason. All of these things come full circle in time. But by being the pile-on, it doesn't help. And yes, it might make you feel like a hero for 5 seconds, but then where's the next dopamine hit coming from? Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think we just have to be very careful. But look, as I said, that's just my opinion, and that's fine. Whatever. But I have to wake up every morning and look myself in the mirror and say, am I being a good person today? Am I, what does my opinion in the whole grand scheme of things count? By me, commenting on things and doing things, is that helping? Is that putting something out into the universe that I want out there? So yeah, so look, it's for each individual, I guess. But look, and again, it's just sort of my humble opinion, and do you know what? It's all good. So anyway, I will be talking about some much happier topics next week, hopefully. There's a whole lot happening, and what I do want to sort of share is a lot of successes that I'm going to be doing with the travel business, with all the other things that I've got going on. I'm heading off on a holiday to finally get some sun because I'm pasty and I can't handle it. I don't think I've gone this long without having any sort of sun or a tan at all in my entire life. So I'm really, really feeling it. So I can't wait to get some sun. But yeah, I'll be sharing all of that with you guys. But have a lovely weekend. Take care. And as I said, everyone who watches this channel is very, very welcome. But what I would say is, let's be constructive, let's be, interactive, and, let's put some happiness out into the world. But anyway, have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.